What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. So in hopes of trying to answer the numerous questions I have received about how we saddle up our horses, what type of things and tack we use, and how we keep them looking so good, and all of these things, I figured I would try to answer all these questions here by getting my next horse ready that we're going to use to film a new series for the Comfort Zone horse training video series. So we're going to go get ice, and along the way I will show you and talk about all of the little things that we do here to get our horses tacked up and how we take care of them. Okay, so next we're going to go grab our saddle pad. So saddle pads are, I don't have a particular brand or company or type that I'm really like married to. I like to use wool, synthetic wool pads because they're really comfortable. The only trade-off there, or the only downside to those, is that they will be more slippery. So young horses, especially horses that don't have a really pronounced wither, then those are going to be prone of sliding quite a bit. And I will show you soon when we talk about the cinches, is I like to have mostly a synthetic wool cinch or the Ventex 22 cinch because I really want to avoid having any cinch area soreness, because this is what many of the horses get, especially with fungus and such things through spring and summer when they sweat and dirt gets in there. So I don't like to use neoprene cinches as much as I can because I feel like they are hard on the skin, but I will find myself having to if I wear a synthetic wool pad or this type of felt, because it's a little bit more slippery. And so otherwise, if I don't have any neoprene anywhere and I only have synthetic wool, then it takes a horse with a very pronounced wither for me to feel really stable on them. And so on young horses, I don't really recommend that so much. So the diamond pads are going to be the pads that I like because of how they're cut. They come up here a little higher towards the wither, and they wrap around very nicely around the horse. They last a pretty long time. Once you start feeling that they have some hard sweat, dried spots with hair and stuff underneath, I think that this is when they need to be retired to the trash or to a dog bed. But until then, they're great pads. Those felt pads here are pretty nice. This company is actually by Teskey's, a local company, and I think that this is sort of a very similar shape and make as the Professional Choice version. So those are the felt pads that I like using because they are really soft. They're also really cut well, come up around the wither here. So this is the one we're going to be using on ice today. This pad I got from a good friend of mine from Cowboy Couture, the maker of this shirt and these shirts that I now wear to compete because they're great shirts. It's kind of hot today and pretty humid, and I'm a little bit nervous and whatnot. So if I wasn't wearing this shirt, you'd probably see pretty pronounced sweat spots around underneath my arms and in my back because I am sweating. But you can't see that because these shirts are made for that. And so that's why that I like them a lot for competition or making videos or any other type of places where I just don't want to be in public with sweat spots around my arms. So they are the makers of this great shirt, but also the maker of this pad. So this pad has some non-slippery neoprene underneath, and it's got the felt on top. And it's cut kind of opening here like a butterfly underneath the leg, potentially giving you more closer contact and more control over with your leg, and open here at the wither. So this is a pad that fits the horses very well, and I kind of like using, but the only thing I don't like so much about this one is that my reins tend to get stuck in that opening there, in that opening here when I'm working, and this is the only thing that I don't like about this pad. Other than that, it's a great design and works very well. Now probably some of the most used pads we have in the barn are the one pads. One pads are full neoprene inside and felt outside. I use the 1/2 inch because it's just a good thickness. It's good cushion, but it's not too thick. And so we'll be using those quite a bit, especially on young horses, because they are very stable. Now, I have a true story where I went into the show pen and showed a horse pretty hard once, and my cinch was completely not tied, like loose, like dangling down. But I didn't feel it, and my saddle didn't move because I was wearing a one pad. And so those pads really are stable. And I think sometimes, I don't think that they're very comfortable for the skin. I would rather wear wool or something like that's more comfortable, especially horses that get back sore and such things. Then I'm always like, oh, I don't want to put a one pad on them. But again, sitting in the middle of your horse and remaining in the middle of your horse and having a pad that helps you stay there, I think is also going to help improve that the back soreness and help reduce that. And so again, this is just you knowing your horse's shape and what it is that you want your priority to be. But as you can see, we have a little bit of all worlds in order to accommodate the different type of horses that we have. Yeah. So next we're going to come and get our saddle over here. Now, as some of you know, some of you may not, but ever since I started training horses, I grew up riding Jim Taylor saddles. This is a company that my dad has been working with, developing saddles, developing trees and all that ever since 25 years. So I grew up riding these saddles. They are definitely, for me, the best and most comfortable saddles. I've given clinics all over the world, and I've seen those saddles all over the world, and I have yet to meet someone that tells me they don't absolutely love their Jim Taylor saddle and it's not their favorite saddle in the barn. So I'm very, very grateful to be affiliated and associated with Jim Taylor saddles. And if you wonder what type of saddle you should get for your horses, the amount of work in designing and testing trees that fit universally as much as possible, like this saddle and all of my Jim Taylor saddles, I can put this saddle on any horse at any point in time, and I can always trust that it will fit anyone or any horse 100%, and that is very, very important, and it's hard to find. And Jim Taylor saddles, you can trust that you will find that. Now, next to the cinches, cinches is somewhat similar to the pads, like I was saying. It's important for me to be stable on top of my horse and not slide left and right. So neoprene is going to help me do that. So if I'm going to be using a wool pad in order to have a little bit more cushion on my horse's back, and for my horse to be a little bit more comfortable, or if it has sore back and I don't want to use a one pad, so there I'm going to trade off and probably use a neoprene cinch, which is going to be very stable and help me stabilize that. But mostly what we will use is either, again, a synthetic wool cinch in order to help avoid having some irritated skin around this area, because I feel if they are hurting here or they develop a fungus here, then you're going to probably be set back at least 2 to 3 weeks until that heals, or if you have to ride them through that, they're going to be in extreme pain. So I really want to avoid that as much as possible. This helps me when a horse has that, so this is one I'm going to, if I feel a horse, it's too late, then I'm going to probably use the synthetic wool, since it's going to be the most comfortable thing, in order to avoid it and avoid any soreness or any fungus around the area of the cinch. My favorite cinch is going to be, again, a product by Lamicelle, and that V22 Ventex 22 material. Same material as in the protecting boots, so a slight elasticity there, which I think is good if they are going to be doing movements using their back and stuff like that. It's good to have a little flexibility on your cinch area, but mostly is that this type of neoprene is a patented neoprene that has small perforated holes all across it. So same as for the boots, is it will help dissipate heat that accumulates underneath, and it will also help absorb the sweat. So therefore, it's not going to be you're not going to have all of that heat, sweat, and dirt kind of move around while you're riding, and it's going to just help absorb that sweat and keep the skin more dry. And ever since I started using these cinches, knock on wood, we haven't had one horse had any fungus or a mean fungus around their cinch area. So I really recommend that you looking at these cinches, and so this is the one that we're going to be using on ice today. Now, when applying the cinch, it's very, very important for me that just like when I put my jeans and I have my buckle, it should be right here in the middle, okay? So it's very, very important to adjust your cinch to where it's even here, the same as the other side, and you have that ring in the middle, right in the middle of that horse's chest, okay, right underneath their belly. It's very important, and too often I see cinches that are way off and then applying so much pressure on one side and leaving the other side open, potentially even pinching the horse. So it's very important to to saddle up your horse and make sure that your cinch is as even as possible on both sides. Now, also very important is when you're cinching up here and the horses are still quite inflated and, you know, and sometimes even a little bit tender, either on their back area or the cinch area, is not to come here and just crank them tight right here. I want to do it in at least 3-stage process. First, just barely touching, okay? And then, just before leaving, after I've walked a little bit, tighten it up a little bit more, and before getting on, then go in all the way. Okay, so it's very important. So now I'm going to look, that's about where I am here, and I'm going to go and take a look on the other side. I feel like it's a little bit higher, but once we'll be in the arena and we'll tighten it up, I think that it'll be pretty even. If not, we're going to have to be coming on this side and lowering it down a hole until we're where we want to be. If you feel that it's too low on both sides, probably means that you have too short of a cinch. If it's too high on both sides and you're touching the pad, then you probably have too long of a cinch and you're going to want to be trading it off. See, now this starts to be pretty even, so I'm going to take a look in the front there if my ring is in the middle, which looks like it is if you look here in the front. So this is possibly where my cinch is best adjusted. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.